Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Growth in the Rocks. You're like, what's going on? We have another YouTube episode. Yeah, you do. And I felt like, if we're going to go into this whole YouTube era of Growth in the Rocks, why not bring back one of my absolute favorite people? I did the investigation for this back in June of 2022 and December of 2023. We had our gorgeous host, I was going to say co-host, our gorgeous guest. Maybe I'm speaking it into existence. Our gorgeous guest on this show, the former host of Dirty Blondes and definitely friend of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, big welcome for the gorgeous, the wonderful, the talented, the amazing, the incomparable, Miss Stephanie Smith.
Hello. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a hot minute since I've done a podcast, so I'm glad that you asked me to be on.
Of course. Well, the funny thing is, let's be honest. This came about because we have been like voice note BFFs lately for like the past month, and I was like,
Yeah.
we have to record an episode.
I know, because we have our own like private podcast basically. So
We do. It's called 6:30, 7:30 in the morning.
yeah.
How's your morning? How's getting ready to go into work? She's going into work when I'm getting dressed because I'm an hour behind. And so we literally start our day and then we both get off and then we send like messages after
Note after note.
note after note after note, just talking about everything. But yeah, so I looked it up. The last time you were on the show, December of 2023.
I like can't even think back I honestly don't even remember what we talked about. I don't know if I was broken up at that point from my last relationship or if I was just fighting my way through it.
There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot going on.
Because when I was on Dustin's podcast, it was the same thing. I was like broken up there was always something happening in the last 3 years of my life. So
dude, when you were on Dustin's podcast, it was like that Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Where it was just like episode 4 of Stephanie on Sex Party. Like it was insane. And I of course was like driving to work, listening to like all 5 hours of 2 episodes that you did on Sex Party.
Yeah, I think I was on his show 4 times or 5 times, something like that.
It was 4. Yeah, you and I are like almost tops with that, which I was like,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
So
well, yeah, because you guys both. I had started Dirty Blondes. I don't even remember what year I started it, but you guys had both reached out to me to be guests on my show, and then now I'm guest on your show, which I'm fine with. I love it because I don't do my podcast anymore. Just for your listeners, I mean, I don't even know I think I archived everything, honestly.
I think that's what you said. I think you were like, I've archived everything.
Yeah, I've just changed so much. Like I'm not like even close to being that person anymore. So like, I feel like I was actually just messaging a friend before we started and he was like, oh my God, you're going through like a full rebrand. And I was like, I am like, cause we were talking about Instagram cause I archived all my old Instagram photos on my personal account and I deactivated the Dirty Blondes account temporarily just to like, so it wasn't out there. And yeah, I was like, I don't know. I'm just trying to like figure myself out again post breakup.
Well, before we dive into all of that and we get into so much that we're going to get into, because we're going to tell you right now, this is just a good girlfriend catch up. So if you're dating, if you're going through relationship issues, or you're just out in these streets, this is the episode for you. This is to let you know that your BFFs, Desiree and Stephanie, are also in these streets. And we have a lot to say about it because the streets are shit. But before we get into all that, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking some type of champagne. I don't know. It was a gift, so just
very nice.
Have the bottle next to me.
Very nice. I'm doing a little Woodford Reserve.
Ooh.
And I went ahead and gave myself like a 4.5 because I was like, okay, you've got another early morning tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if I have the bottle next to me, you will not have an early morning because it is a Woodford Reserve.
It is Friday tomorrow, so
it is Friday, so I'm very excited.
And it's spring break. Oh my God. Speaking of spring break, so I know because you're in like spring break nation. So I was telling my coworkers this morning. So I'm getting ready for work and I get a Hinge notification. So I'm on Hinge, Bumble, Duet, Tinder. I'm on all of them. So on Hinge, I get a notification that like so-and-so likes you and commented on your photo. And I was like, all right, like, let's see what's happening. So I open the message and he goes, hi, beautiful. I'm here on spring break. Mind you, this motherfucker is 29 years old. I was like, it's not spring break now. You're an adult taking vacation time. You're taking PTO.
Not taking PTO.
Like at a certain point, you're not on spring break anymore.
You're not. You're not. I saw a TikTok. I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was like POV, the 35-year-old on spring break, and he's got like 2 twisted teas, and he's like, "Yeah, girl, we want to drink," and I'm like, "Oh God, I've seen that out. It's so disgusting."
Well, because I'm near Fort Lauderdale, so it's like that's always. I don't even go down that way this time of year, but yeah, I saw a video actually on TikTok of like showing people out right now, and it's just like wall to wall people, and it's crazy. They have to like block off the beach now. It's like it's nuts. But yeah, I was like, at what point do we stop saying spring break? I'm like 29. I feel like that's a little old to be saying.
I feel like 24, maybe 25, depending on if you're going to like grad school. But even if you are, you're so focused on academics that your spring break looks different. So I'm gonna stick with like 24 is when hard final cutoff of.
I feel like that too. So I was like, you're pushing 30, brother. Like
29.
Yeah, I was like, because I was like, well, how old is this guy? And I started going through his profile, and I was like, oh, he is 29. I was like, that's a hard no. He was like, I'll take you out for like a wild night. I'm like, bro, I am pushing 40. I don't need to. I got work tomorrow. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you all now, Stephanie is a horrible influence on me because over the past month, I've been like, I'll download this app. I'll download this app. And so I've tried them all recently. So now I'm only on one. Well, kind of sort of technically too, because I do have Facebook dating, which is shite.
Yeah.
But I'm on Tinder. And so I have been on like Bumble and Duet and Hinge. And so all of them at some point, but I just don't have the attention span for a lot of them at the moment. But I am on Tinder right now. And
I feel like I honestly have the best luck with Tinder. I mean,
really?
I know people think of it as a hookup app, which I mean, it is still. I mean, obviously there's people on there looking for like the immediate, gratification, whatever. But I like when guys message me first. I feel like on Hinge, it's like, for some reason, if I'm not active on it, it must not push my profile forward to people because there's like weeks where I don't get any likes. And then there's days where I get like 10 in a day. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. So like, I think there's something with their algorithm or like how much you use it. And then with Bumble, I don't really like, I'm so sick of doing like the opening line. Like I have my profile set that I have pre-answered questions so you can like respond to those. So I just let the guys message me, and if they don't, then they don't, and I don't chat with them.
So you have this philosophy on Tinder, which I was like, damn, I really want to have that philosophy, but I don't have the patience. So your whole thing, like you said, is you let the guys respond first. Where I'm like, depending on what their profile is, like I'll do something funny. Normally I lead with something funny and really cheeky, and that usually always works. But I'm glad I did this experiment because I've had Tinder for almost a week now. Out of all the matches I've had, only 2 guys have messaged first.
Yeah. And that's what, like, I have so many matches. If you go through my profile, I have like a million matches that haven't messaged me yet. And then I have a ton of guys that have messaged me, but it's like very low effort. So like, I don't care if they message me first, but if it's just, hey, the amount of messages that I have sitting pending in my like chat list or whatever, I'm just like, I don't even respond most of the time, unless they're like really hot. And then I'll be like, hey, and then just like see what the energy is back. But for the most part, if it's just a very low effort, like, hey, I typically don't respond. So you got to like catch me, like with a good, at least like, hey, how are you? Like at least put a little bit more into it and just instead of like, hi, I'm like,
hey,
okay,
happy Friday. Like, hey, happy Friday. Or like, hey, good morning. Or like, hey, gorgeous, how are you? Like just a second. I need a noun. I need a verb. I need a past tense.
I need more than 8 letters.
Like I need something. But like, so I was really bad today, and I was like, I'm gonna wait to talk about this on the podcast. So it is spring break. I'm here in Panama City Beach. I'm also very close to a Navy base, which was like within walking distance of my house. So
I need to come visit you.
And so it's so great because my old job, I used to drive by it, and I would drive by it at a certain point in the morning, and I'd always catch them running. And I was like, God bless America.
Literally, I would be like out there saluting. Do you need a water? You want me to make you dinner?
You guys good? But I just redid my filters. So I shortened the distance. Every once in a while I'll play with distance. I shortened it to like 30 miles. But I lowered my age down to
Wait, that's short for you? My distance is like 5 miles. I do like a 5 to 8 mile radius. Yeah.
Like 30 for me is short because I'm like, I don't know if I want to know how close some people are. Although there are occasions where I've had some that I'm like, oh shit, he's 2 miles. Oh,
yeah.
Cool. But I shortened it to 30 and I took the age down to 26.
Good for you. Good for you.
Don't.
It's spring break, you know, since the 29-year-olds are doing it. It's spring break.
I'm 29. No one's. Do not encourage this. This is my point. You cannot encourage me to do this.
I mean, YOLO. We're going into like summer, which is like uncuffing season. So, you know.
I know. My plan is to look hot for the summer. I want to look hot. Yeah, your girl has it down to 26, which means I could potentially find a guy that I am the same age as his mom.
That's great. That's fabulous. They're all looking for that anyway.
So gross. That makes oh God, why am I sweating just thinking about it? Oh my God. But Stephanie and I have been out in the streets and we are here to tell you that the streets suck.
Especially in Florida.
So bad. It's so bad in Florida. And it's funny because I was with my ex for 6 years and I felt like I constantly told people, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not single. Like I would never trade it. And now that I am, and now that I'm, I'm not, I like to say I'm not intentionally dating. Like I'm not dating for the long term, but if it happens, it happens. Like I'm not going to say no to it. But I'm definitely not looking to hook up. So I'm dating. Like I'm dating. But God, it has just been, fuck, I hate it.
It's tiring. It's like, see, I'm dating with intention because I'm just like, I guess my ex and I broke up like, what is it, 2 years now, probably at least. So I just like, I was on the apps, but like, I never really was swiping even. Like I just had them, up and I was like bored once in a while. So I would swipe, but like nothing ever came of it. So now that I'm like in a better place mentally, I feel like I'm actively trying to date with intention. So it's like, I'm not doing the hookup thing like I used to. Cause it's like, it gets old, it's like, I don't know. It's just like, you've been there, you've done that. Like, I'm just like, all right, like, yeah, I could hook up with a million guys. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many hot guys in this area and guys like beg all the time. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. Like, I don't need the headache or like to waste my time. But it's just like, it's crazy down here because there's so many people that just like, they love bomb you or they like say that they're looking for something and then you never hear from them again. I.e. that one guy that I went on a date with like 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And it's like, and he said like that he was looking for something serious. It was great. Oh, where have you been all my life? All this stuff. And then poof, he was gone. So I was talking to one of my guy friends about it today, actually. And he's like, that's just what they do. He was like, it's like the norm nowadays. And I was like, I just don't understand like putting in the effort to then like just ghost someone. Like, it's just, I don't know. That's the tiring part of the dating.
Or spending the money on travel and dinner and
he spent $400 on our date and text me every day for 5 days, like all day. I'm not just saying like, it was like, hey, how are you? Like, I'll talk to you later. Like, it was like literally all day. And I'm just like, that was a lot of effort and a lot of money to take me out on a date to then never speak with me again. Yeah. Especially not even to get a blowjob out of it because that's my specialty and you didn't even benefit from it.
Same. Like I had a date like a month ago. And granted, I knew it was what it was. Like he was a tourist. I get it. He was in town for a few days. But I was like, round one was lovely. Like you're going to be in town for a couple of days. Let's do a round two. I have not performed my best work. Me on a microphone, killing it. Didn't get to perform it because he decided to just be like gone. And I'm like, you have to understand. If there's anybody who respects what's happening right now, it's me because you're out of town. This is ideal. I never have to see you again after this.
Yeah.
So let me enjoy like a round two. but alas,
Yeah,
won't
exactly. Like
happen.
a short-lived romance.
Short-lived, short-lived. I want to be the person who has like little micro romances. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I feel like what's going to happen is I'm going to do that and I'm going to find that guy and that's going to be my intention. And he's the guy that's going to turn everything upside down. And I'm going to be like, fuck, I'm in
Yeah.
love. I'm
That
in love.
sounds about right. Well, you are the queen of manifesting, so you're gonna probably end up manifesting that exact thing.
Been in my manifestation, but the funny thing is, so again, Stephanie's a horrible influence, but she's also a great hype person. And so we're constantly sending each other voice notes, obviously. And at one point, she'll always be like, whatever, it's going to work for you, Desiree, because you're so good at manifesting. And so two things happened today where I was just like, fuck, these are so tiny, but I really am so good at manifesting.
You are. I
Where I was
mean,
like,
like you,
in
every
a
time I
way,
talk to you over the years, you've always said, "Oh, I'm going to do this," or "I'm planning on doing this," or whatever. You always end up doing things, and then you're like, "Oh, I did it," and I'm like, "Bitch, what?" Like, no one moves faster than Desiree.
no one moves faster than me. At this point, I am convinced I am also a witch. So there's also that.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's also happening. But speaking of Tinder and communication, so two things happened that one, I was like, it is what it is, but like glad that it happened. And another one I totally respected. So one guy today, we disconnected because he was like, what is it that you're looking for? And I did my general spiel. And then he's like, yeah, I'm looking, what did he say? Like, and I'm looking for friends with benefits, intimacy, great connection, and great conversation. And I was like, that sounds great. I am not looking for friends with benefits.
Yeah.
So I do not think we're a good match. And he said, well, why is that? And I said, because that's not what I want right now. And then he unmatched me, which cool, great. We've had this conversation. Another guy, he and I have matched and been talking for a good couple of days, like maybe 3, maybe possibly 4 days. Um, Good conversation. It flowed. He asked good questions. I asked good questions. He was about 40 minutes away from me. And so I sent him a good morning message because we've been going kind of back and forth on the good morning messages. And his daughter went to the walk-in clinic. So I said good morning because I wanted to check and see how he was doing.
Mhm.
He was like, oh, good morning. Thank you so much for checking in. And I was like, hope your daughter's doing great. And he said she is. And then he said, I have to be honest with you. I've decided to pursue someone that I'm dating right now and making it a bit more serious. So I'm going to get off of the app. And I said, you know what? Thank you so much for that. And I wish you well.
That's like the best case scenario. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice because it's like, it's not an easy thing to say. Like, it's awkward,
Yeah.
like for anyone to have that conversation, but it's nice to like know, oh, did he unmatch me? Did he block
Mhm.
me? Like, what did I say? What did I do? Like, something wrong? It's like, there's nothing worse than being ghosted, even though I just did it recently into someone, but I was like, whatever. Like, we didn't meet, so it wasn't like as bad, but still I should have like been the better person and just been like, hey, I'm not interested anymore. But it is just easier to like ignore someone, but it is
Mhm.
nice when you get the, hey, this isn't like a match, but
Mhm.
best of luck to you.
Yeah. And I used a story from years ago, like OG years ago in Tinder. Actually, I don't think it was Tinder because I was in college. So this is probably like an OK
Like
Cupid.
plenty of fish.
It was probably, girl, the plenty of fish stories I have. Let me
Girl,
just.
I got robbed by someone I met on Plenty of Fish.
Oh my God. What?
Well, he like, I wasn't at home, but like he sent someone to my house and like robbed me. Yeah, when I was in college.
How have I never heard this story?
I don't know. I think I talked about it on my
I think
podcast,
we
but
talked
like,
about
not
it.
that like I expect you to remember everything that I talked about, but I think I had talked about it one time. Yeah, it was like a whole thing. So him and I met, we hung out. It was like, I don't know. My bad decision making with men has started at a young age, obviously, and has progressed up until now. I'm almost 40 and still making bad decisions, but whatever. You live and you learn, but I didn't learn necessarily from that. But yeah, I met him. We like hooked up a couple times. Like he was always at my house, and he stayed over one night. And then the next day I was at work and I came home from work. I was working at the mall at the time, like in retail. And I came home and my house was broken into, and all my stuff was, all my jewelry, my laptop, like Louis Vuitton luggage, like everything gone. And it wasn't him that did it. It was like he sent someone to do it. Because when I called the cops, this was before I like was turned. This is, I think, almost what made me. I've always been a nosy person, but I think this is kind of what made me into a private investigator with guys, because when the cops came over to do the report, they were like, as soon as I said the kid's name, they were like, oh God. They were like, they knew who he was. So then I started Googling him after the fact, and he had mugshots. He had like, it was a mess. Cause in Florida, the state laws are different than most states. So you can, like, mugshots are, out there for everyone to see with your charges. Obviously it's not like your final charges, but your initial arrest charges. So I think that's what got me into like the whole like wanting to be a private investigator, because I like was like, oh, that would have been a simple Google search, and I could have like, because his name wasn't that common, like his first name was, but his last name wasn't. So I was like, oh, I could have easily just like not been in this situation. But yeah, so he stole, or his friends stole all the shit from my house. It was like $10,000 worth of stuff at the time.
Did you ever get it back?
No. Nope. Nothing. So yeah, it's just, I think he ended up like, he sold drugs sometimes, like just weed, but like, I think he owed people money. So he like sold, gave that to them as collateral. And then like, obviously people who do that stuff typically know not to go to like their local pawn shop, because obviously the police, like they go to ones that are like in different counties or whatever. So I don't know, but yeah, that was, one of my many horrible dating decisions.
I mean, I did not have that. My Plenty of Fish horror stories revolve around, I mean, it's crazy to say it out loud, but I went on a date with a guy. We met at a coffee shop and then went to Barnes and Noble and walked around and looked at books, which I thought, I'm sorry, I kind of love that.
That's cute.
And then we were going to go to our next location for dinner. And so he's like, oh, I'll drive you. And I'm like, okay. So I got in his car. And then he's like, oh yeah, I got a new gun today. And he pulls.
I mean, that's a little, I don't mind guns personally, but like on a first date in a car with a guy that you met online is a little like.
Not at all. Carry myself. Don't have a problem with that. But just the fact, and I remember thinking to myself, I could die here. Like this could be in a car on a first date with a guy that I met from Plenty of Fish. And he was just like, yeah, like it's a new Glock, da da da. Like I wanted to get, and I'm just like, And I wasn't freaked out or anything, but I had this small voice in my head that was like,
this could go south.
Normal. And he could just be like, boom, boom, and you're out. Like, what are you talking about? And then we proceed. Oh my God, this is so funny. I almost forgot about this part. We proceed to go to Dave & Buster's for dinner. And then he walks me to my car and we're making out. And then he just like whips his penis out in the parking lot. And I was like, I'm good. I'm going to go home now. Thank you so much. And then I never contacted him again.
I wouldn't have either. That's a lot. That's a lot in a short time.
Right? There was that. And then my famous Plenty of Fish story, which I've talked about so many times in the podcast. There was a guy we had matched. We had been talking for a bit online and we were going to meet at a bar for drinks. And I will admit he wasn't really my type, but I forgot there was something about him I found like charming. And so I'm at the bar. I already have my drink. He walks in. He sees me. We're like, hi, I'm Desiree. He's like, hi, I'm Koso. He sits down. I was like, hey, do you want to go ahead and order? Like, I've already got my drink. And he was like, to be honest, this isn't going to work. And I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, did you want to get a drink? You literally just sat down. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go. And he left.
What? That's crazy. That's like, that's insane. I've never had that happen. I mean, I've definitely been like flabbergasted by guy. Like there was this one guy I went on a date with and like our text game was good, but like, first of all, he lied about his height. Second of all, and it was like a substantial amount. Like it wasn't like, oh, he's 5'9", it said he was 5'9", he's 5'7". No, he said he was like 6 foot and he was 5'7". So like you can't, 2 inches I'll give you, okay, but like you can't do more than that. Then on top of it, not that I'm judging, but like he looks so different from his pictures because he had gained such a significant amount of weight, which like I get the weight fluctuation, but like that's why like I update my photos on my profile so much because my hair color changes. Like there's some pictures like I could use old pictures that I like look amazing in, but I was like completely platinum blonde. Like my hair was like basically white. And it's like, I don't look like that now, you know? So it's like, sure, it's a good picture. My face still looks the same, but like I don't look like that picture, you know? So this guy had gained so much weight and I was like, so it was just shocking like all around because he just did not look like that. And then our text game was amazing, but in person it was awful. Like it was so boring. So we were stuck at dinner on this date and I was like, I want to kill myself. Like I was but I still went on the date with him. Like I wouldn't just like turn around like and just like walk away. Like I went on the date. We split the check because I like insisted because I was like, I don't want this to, you know, whatever. And I just was like, I don't like afterwards he had texted me to like follow up and I was like, I don't think this is going to work, but you know, good luck to you, whatever. So, but like I got through the date, you know, but like I wouldn't just like look at someone and be like, nope, I'm going to go.
Although I almost had something similar, but what I did do is I had like this code with one of my girlfriends, basically that I need to get out of jail code. And so I texted her because he basically did the same thing to you as he did to me, which was his photos were clearly when he was a bit younger looking. So when he walked in, I was like, oh, okay, that's a good 5+ years. And I was just like, this isn't gonna work. But I wasn't gonna be like the douche who just up and left me. So we got our table, we got our drinks, we got appetizers, we had a conversation. It wasn't bad, but I was just like, dude, no. So I remember going to the bathroom and texting my girlfriend and I was like, give me 30 minutes and then I need you to call. And she did, and I had a work emergency and I had to go.
That's awesome. Yeah. You know what? It's funny because I actually was swiping on, I don't know if it was Bumble or Tinder the other day, but obviously, like, I see a lot of the same characters from before I was in my relationship, which they probably say the same thing about me. Like, oh, this bitch is on this app again, you know, like,
I'm like, I'm sure they're like, bitch, didn't I see you on Bumble? Wait a minute, didn't I see you on Hinge? And
yeah. So
I saw you too.
Right. Well, and it's like I feel like the stereotype's like a little bit different with guys and girls because it's like girls like for the most part know what they want, but it's like guys are like, you know, there's either like lying or like they'll take you out and then they ghost you or like they're non-committal. So it's like there's like it's a different dynamic. I feel like why women are are always on the apps versus why men are always on the apps. But there was this one guy that I saw his profile recently and I was cracking up because he's still using the same pictures from like 7 years ago. And like literally the exact same like 4 photos. I'm like, bro, like you definitely look older now. Cause he's like closer to my age. And I was like, I'm dying to know what he looks like now because these photos, first of all, you can tell when they're like taken on a digital camera versus your like cell phone. So one, they are like blurry, like Facebook upload from like, you know, a CVS disc or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? And then like also too, like they're just, you can just tell they're so old and he looks like a baby in them. And I'm like, that does not match, your face does not match your age that it's on your profile. Like also too, for me, like because I was chronically on the apps for like minus when I was in a relationship, I see so many, you know, just remnants of, you know, dating past. And I'm like, oh God, this guy again or whatever. And like, yeah. And he came up and I was like, oh man, I was like, he does not look like that, ladies. I wanted to like put out a SOS.
I have kind of this similar situation that happens here. Cause like I said, there's a Navy base near me and Air Force base just in town. So that also means that there are a lot of retirees in the military in this area. And then there's also a lot of active duty, right? And so what I'm seeing a lot of are photos of like, oh, he's cute. And it's like, oh, that's him in his uniform in a plane. And then you're scrolling and you see a couple other things like, oh, that was when he was deployed and blah, blah, blah. And then like the last photo is a relatively recent one. And it's like, oh, so you're retired.
You can always tell.
You're no longer active duty.
That's active in general.
Or active. probably taking some Activia, but
Yeah.
definitely not active. And so I've seen that so much where like, because I'm gonna admit, call me stupid or whatever. I am such a sucker for a uniform. Like I know
Oh,
it's toxic.
same.
It's so fucking bad. I don't police, EMT, military, like
Firefighters.
firefighters, like
All the firefighters around here, though, are such whores. So every time I see a fire, I'll go through the photos,
yeah,
but I never swipe right because I'm like, I know you're fucking ran through and
yeah,
gross.
100%. But I'm like, I don't mind a little toxic right now. Like I'm down for a
Oh,
little.
they're
I'm
definitely.
down for it. But I'm swiping through these profiles and I'm like, okay, flight suit. Oh, okay, okay, we're um casual, I can see you're on base, or okay, we're deployed. That's what we looked at. Okay, that's a bunch of you and your boys, probably like the commissary. Cool, cool, cool. Last photo on a fishing trip from like 2 years ago. Mm, sir,
Yeah.
sir, that is when
You
did
can
you
always tell too because they grow out their hair, I feel like. Because it's
when
not
did
that
you
like
get out of the
short little
military?
buzz cut, like, like the hair gets crazy and you're like, okay, now we're now
When did you get out of the
this is
military?
present day. Yeah.
Mhm. And the thing is, it's like you think you're gonna catch me, but no, you're not, because I'm sorry. I caught that. And so now you don't get a swipe right. I'm gonna like immediately. But there's so many of them because of where I live. There's so many of them like that here.
Yeah. There's like a decent amount of like military guys in this area. Like not that there's a base, not that I'm aware of, but I
Mhm.
mean I think they just like either relocate here after if they're like not active duty or they're just like in the area for funsies, I guess. I don't know.
Funsies.
But I see a lot of firefighters in this area and it's always the same suspects and I'm just like, oh god. Cause did you ever join the Are We Dating the Same Guy groups in your area?
No, I
Okay.
haven't, because I've thankfully never had to be in that situation. And even when I started hearing about it when I was with my ex, I was like, I was very fortunate. I knew for a fact I wouldn't see him in there, so I was like, I'm not even
You
worried about
honestly should go on it just for like the gossip. It's like honestly so funny because like
it. I think I kind
also
of
too because then you can like for like because I know you got like you're out in the wild. I feel like more than I am, so I feel like you naturally just like based on your energy and everything, like you just attract people to like, talk to you. So I feel like you could even give insight on guys that you potentially met at a bar, even if nothing happened. But like, oh yeah, he was really nice, or like whatever. Because like I've done that where I'm like I've seen guys that either I hooked up with or that I just went on a date with or talked to or whatever. And like, I'll be like, oh my God, like he's just looking for a hookup, like just so you're clear, but he's a very good guy, but it's like, just know that like, he's not looking for anything serious. So like I've gone, I've given my input. Cause you can do it anonymously. Um, yeah. So you can like, yeah, respond anonymously, but you have to answer like questions again in the group. But yeah, it's like it's funny to see some of the stuff because like down in South Florida, like there's a couple guys that like they have nicknames within the group or they are posted so much and people will be like, not this guy again. Like it's just like it's so bad down here. So I'm sure you probably have like similar like funny stories up there. So I would highly recommend joining just at least for the humor because it is a good laugh.
I think you've convinced me because you're such a great influence. So I think I will. I know one of my girlfriends, she lives in Arizona. She belongs to a group there. And it's like every time she meets a guy, she immediately goes on there. And I want to say
Yeah.
one guy that she was dating was, on that particular page. And I was just like, what did it say? And she's like, yeah, but like we've gone out a couple of times and that's not. And I'm like, okay, girl, like they're
It's
telling you to fire and you're walking in.
I've posted a handful of guys on there. Like I had posted actually my ex on there and people like it was nothing new to me, but it was just like obviously validation for what I already knew. And then there was a couple guys that I had gone on dates with or was thinking about going on dates with, and I got some interesting insight. Like, cause the only time I ever really search guys, like, how you have that sixth sense as like a woman of just like, oh, something could be off with this guy or like something doesn't seem right. And like there was this one guy who he wasn't like aggressive, but he was just like a tad bit pushy. And I was like, why is he like this? Like like what's happening, And because we had FaceTimed and I was like, there was like the conversation was fine, but it was like something was just kind of off with him. So I had posted his picture before meeting. We didn't have a date like planned or anything, but he had said he wanted to take me on a date. And, so I was like, all right, let me do a little research. So I had posted him, and this one girl messaged me, and she was just like, oh my God, like he is like a little hot-headed. Like, and I was like, okay, that's what I was kind of picking up on. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't need to go, like, my ex was hot-headed. Like, I don't need to go out with another hot-headed guy, like whatever. So sometimes like you have to take it with a grain of salt though. Cause like there are women in there who constantly play the victim as well. And I'm like, I'm a girl's girl to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to defend you just because you're a woman or side with you just because you're a woman. Like, if you're lying about being assaulted or a situation, or you blow a situation out of proportion, like that's on you. Like, then seek help, get therapy, whatever, get on medication, So I will always try to like, obviously hear a woman out, but like there's a lot of women in those groups sometimes that are just like very like dramatic. Like this one lady was like, she was like, oh my God, he like basically saying that he was talking to other people. This one particular guy was talking to other people and like they weren't exclusive. And they were like, girl, you went on 2 dates with him. Like you're not going to be exclusive after 2 dates.
What are you talking about? You're not exclusive. Like that's not
right. So, and it's like, but she wanted that. And I'm like, that's a therapy thing. Like this isn't like come to this group and bash this man and warn women about this man when he's not doing anything wrong. He's playing the field as he should be and dating accordingly. It's like, sorry, your feelings got hurt, but like, he's not a bad man because he's not exclusive with you. So, but yeah, it is funny to like read for both sides, for men and the women, because some of the women are nuts too. So it's funny.
Were you the one who was telling me there's like a guy who was doing some sort of lawsuit against one of those pages? Because
there is, yeah. I don't know it's not in Florida. It's in a different state because every state has different rules. I want to say it's like California or like Arizona or somewhere on the West Coast. Because the rules for privacy and stuff are different in every state. It's just like how with Florida, like you can post your mugshot or like your mugshot's posted, but in other states it's not allowed. So I'm not sure, like, because there's 2 consent states versus 1 consent state, meaning like if you're filmed or like recorded, without your consent, you can, whatever. It just depends on the state. So this one guy, I guess because there are girls that go in the group that report back to the guys that they know. And like, I've never reported back to the guys that I know. Like, I always just try to like say like, oh, he's a good guy, or, oh, he's like this one guy I knew, like, I was like, he's flaky as fuck. I was like, you can't expect a lot from him. Like, I'm friends with him on a personal level, but I was like, he's not someone that's like a solid person to rely on. Like, he's not reliable. So I always just try to like be honest about it. And it, like, I don't say anything in the group that I wouldn't say to these guys' face, So like, and like, I've said that literally to my friend. I'm like, you were one of the flakiest motherfuckers ever. So like, he knows that I would say that and he wouldn't be fazed if it did get back to him. But there's strict rules that like that the women in the groups aren't supposed to report back to the men, but a lot of them do. And then this guy, who I don't know where the lawsuit stands at this point because it was a couple years ago that it started. But yeah, he was saying, I can't get dates. I am being slandered. This is malicious, blah, blah, blah. So he was trying to sue the founders of the group. Because I think there's like one set of founders and then they have these like chapters in every state or every like county or whatever. So yeah, so I don't know what happened with it, but yeah, this guy was trying to sue like the whole like whatever thing because he was just like pissed that he couldn't get a date. And I'm like, well, if that many people are like saying bad things about you, then you have to look at yourself. But like, also if the women are lying, then that's a whole other, it's like, how can you prove it, I guess, but I don't know. But yeah, so he was trying to sue them.
Yeah, really. But at the same time, if enough women, like you said, are saying something, clearly there's something going on. Clearly you have done something. It is worth merit. It is worth ladies having conversations with other girls being like, hey girl, FYI. But I am nosy enough that I think I will join. I think because I've been here for 7 years and I was with someone for 6, it's like I won't have a lot of insight. But I think it'll be like, well, if I worked with someone, I might be like, oh, well, as a former employer, he wasn't that bad. But I mean, like I said, I've been here for 7 years and majority of it I was with somebody. And now I'm out here in the streets and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, it's good, like, because you can use it for guys that you potentially meet on Tinder or Facebook dating. And then also too, it's like, if you know someone, you can either try to defend them, like, because there's been guys where like I have defended and I'm like, he's, you know, like, he's not a bad guy, you know, like, sorry you had a bad experience, but like, I always try to do it anonymously, like, just, you know, so it's like people aren't like harassing me on my Facebook, you know, my personal Facebook, or sending me messages. But people sometimes ask for dating advice and tips and that kind of thing as well. So it's not always just about the guys, like it typically is, but sometimes people will be like, oh, like, you know, why did this happen? Or what is, you know, it's just kind of like a girls group, you know, it's like everyone kind of like comes together and, you know, tries to support each other. But I love when girls call out other girls, because there are times where I'm just like, all right, like, we're being a little dramatic here. We can't always be the victim. Like,
calm down, Cicely. Chill out, girl.
yeah, it's
Now there isn't a girl version of it. There's not a "Are we dating the same girl?" Is there?
I think that, like, so in this area I've seen groups like similar, but it's not taken as seriously as the Are we dating the same guy groups, because obviously guys running it versus girls running it, like the girls are like, it's like militant, like they're like, you know, it is like, you have to follow the rules, you're gonna get kicked out, like we're gonna, you know, like come after you, like it's a whole thing. So it's strict rules in the girls group. Now the guys group, like there was one that I had seen, and I just joined it with my, like, I didn't, cause like, so what happens is there's a lot of guys that will make fake profiles as women to try to join these groups to see what's being said about them, or to at least be able to screenshot the stuff about themselves firsthand. So there's that whole situation, which like, I don't know.
Do this because you guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like funny, because like the girls will be like, oh, like we have an imposter here. Like, because they can sniff them out based off of like the stuff that they're saying. Cause they're like, this isn't a girl typing this. So there's that. But then there was a group I saw locally for like, I think it was Palm Beach County or something. And it was like, are we dating the same girl? And I had joined it because I'm like, oh, I wonder if they like allow girls to come in. And I was in, they let me in right away, but it wasn't even like anything interesting. I was like, this sucks. So I like left the group because I was like, all right, whatever. I was really just looking for myself to see if my ex posted. Like, he doesn't normally put the energy and that kind of stuff. So I didn't really think that like I would be on there, but I was just like, all right, let me just see if anyone else maybe posted, but I didn't see anything.
So you touched a little bit about what you plan on doing in the future, which is kind of going in the area of private investigation. And I know you and I laughed about a guy that I had a couple of dates with recently. We like to call him stage 5 clinger. Because he was just a little intense. A little intense. But I feel like I did the very basic thing that women of a certain age, women nowadays do, because for one, he did not have a very common name. So to Google him was very easy. And it was literally the second thing that popped up. And I remember reading it and I remember texting him and I was like, so I would like to talk about this.
Yeah.
And of course he was like, I was hoping we could talk about that later. And I was like, cool. But we can talk about it now.
Yeah, sooner the better. Let's just get it out there.
I'd like to have this conversation now because, like, what is this? And so he had an explanation to which I was like, okay, fine. Like, I get it, but like, whatever. But yeah, we still had like 2 dates, and like the middle of the first date, I was like, yeah, this is not going to go anywhere. And by date number 2, I was like, you have got to go.
Sometimes you just have to like reconfirm it. I've done that with guys. Actually, there was this one guy, he was really nice, and I just like, he was like almost too nice, you know? I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, there's something you're hiding, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
But he did everything right. Like, most girls would, like, I'm sure he's probably in a relationship now, and I hope he is, because he was a really good guy and very respectful and all the things. But I was just like, I was like, all right, there's something wrong with me, but I'm going to go on a second date with him just to like make sure that like, and there was no attraction. Like, yeah. Like, and I was like, I am the asshole. I was like, you're a really great guy. But I was like, I just like, I don't feel anything. Like, this is like not it. But yeah, he never like told me anything like weird. It was just like, but the vibes were off. Like, it was just not.
This guy was weird from the get go. Like, for one, he talked so much, just so much, just such a
I
talker.
love a yapper though.
And
I'm a yapper.
I'm a yapper too, but like, baby, you gotta. I host a podcast for crying out loud. I'm a professional yapper, but like, you
Yeah,
gotta let it
literally.
go, get a word in edgewise. Like, come on, right? But yeah, and it was just also like he was very cerebral and not in a charming way. Like I felt like I was being lectured, not admonishingly, but just did I sign up for a philosophy class? I didn't even realize I re-enrolled in college. Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? Like,
Well, it's
did I
like when you feel like you're being interviewed on a date, like versus like having like the natural conversation and that flow. It's like there's sometimes like I literally said to one guy one time, he just kept drilling me with questions, and like, you know me, I'm sarcastic and like funny. And I was like, what are you, a fucking cop? I'm like, like, can we not act like this is like interrogation? Like,
Mhm.
I'm a normal person. You can just like fucking like let the wall down, brother. Like like we can be normal.
Mhm. And the thing is,
So
like, I don't know, like I said, I'm down for like a little toxic. And so I matched with a guy recently and I want to say he's 29. So that was already like the get-go of my level of I'm down for a little toxic. But his bio said something like, I promise you this is a bad idea. And I was like, oh,
oh my god, it's like the guy that
no.
I just matched with, the yachty guy that I was telling you about, and his bio was, "I'm looking for a blonde with a bad attitude." I'm like, here
Yep,
I
here
am.
you are.
Like,
So
no one's got a worse attitude than me.
right? He was like, "I promise you this is a bad idea." So when we matched, I responded to him first because like I said, I'm not as strong as you in that regard. And so I basically was like, "So here's what I think a bad idea is." And I didn't finish the sentence. And he was like, "Ooh, what's that bad idea, baby girl?" And I was like, "I'm gonna stop you right there. I am much older than you. I have not been a girl for years. You can call me ma'am." And he was like, "Yes, ma'am." And I said, "Good boy." And so we've been messaging ever since. So yeah. But yeah, I was like,
I
oh
have
my
a thing when guys call me cutie. I
God.
don't like that. Cutie is one of those things. It instantly gives me the ick, and I cannot explain why. It's just like I don't know, because I'm just like, especially when it comes from a younger guy. I guess I'm an older guy too. I'm just like, why are you calling me cutie? Like, I don't like. There's so many other words. Like, and when a guy says like, this one guy messaged me, I think it was yesterday, and he goes, "You're sexy and beautiful," and I was like, all
Mhm.
right, like whatever. Like beautiful is always nice. Like I feel like that's always like a safe word to be like, good morning, beautiful, or hey, beautiful, or oh my God, like whatever. Like, or if you want to call out a feature, like guys always talk about my eyes, and I'm like, it's just my fake eyelashes. Like that's like, it's like
It's
why
doing its
you
job.
are focusing. Yeah, I'm like, that's why you're focusing on it. But they're like, because every guy's like, oh my God, your eyes. And I'm like, it's literally just my lashes. Like, or whatever. But yeah, when guys are like, hey, cutie, I'm like, get away from me. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. It gives me the ick. That is like one of my biggest icks. And I don't know why. It drives me crazy.
I don't necessarily
But
have,
baby girl is also like, like,
it's just like I just don't like it. Like I'm like,
yeah,
girl, like no.
yeah,
I don't I mean, I don't mind ma'am. Like I remember going out somewhere like in a professional setting and one of my girlfriends was called ma'am and she was like, "Oh my God, please, I'm not that old." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was raised in the South. Like I think that's respectful. Like what are you talking about?" Um
yeah,
call me ma'am. Call me ma'am all day long. But I don't know, it was just the fact that his first line reply was, "What's that, baby girl?" And I was just like, like I just didn't
yeah.
like how that hit me. Cutie is very small,
It's
minuscule.
just like, I don't know. Like I call
Mhm.
dogs cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that cute little dog, or like, or a baby. Like, oh, you're a little cutie. Like, not. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want some guy calling me a cutie. Like, because I'm like, I mean, especially too. I feel like it also doesn't match my personality because I'm such a
Mm,
fucking bitch. Like, I feel
maybe
like
that's it.
when you start to meet me, you're like, or like get to know me, it's like, oh, she's crazy. Like, so it's like cutie. I feel like just doesn't align with me.
Not it's not who I am. And that now that I think about it, that makes a lot of sense because so my name is Desiree. And so I always tell people, a matter of fact, on my profile it says Des, because I'm like 9 times out of 10, you're gonna butcher my name, right? So once I match with someone and we're connecting, I'm like, oh, by the way, Des is short for Desiree. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times people, whether it's dating, professional, what have you, will be like, oh, hey, Desi. And I don't like Desi. The only people who call me Desi are like my mom, my late grandmother, and then a few very, very, very close immediate family members. Because to me, Desi sounds like that's what I was called when I was a kid. Like it sounds very juvenile. And so, when I work with people, my employees, team members, friends, I'm like, everybody can call me Des. If I go to a coffee shop, what's your name? Des. Like, call me Des. So when someone goes straight for especially if like on a dating app, they go in the Desi, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's funny because my grandmother always used to call me Steffi. She called everyone with like an IE at the end of their name or like a Y. She would always be like, my one cousin's name was Beth Ann, and she called her Bethy. And then my brother's name is Matt, so she would call him Maddie. So she called everyone with like a Y or IE at the end of it. So that was just like her thing, and like even my friends. But like I've had people in the workplace call me Steffi, and I'm just like, it doesn't like it's just so random. And I'm like, when people and they're like, is that okay? I'm like, I guess. I'm like, I'll answer to whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm like, it's so like out of the blue. Cause like, but then I have at the same token, people are like, can I call you Steph? I'm like, yeah, obviously. I'm like, because I sign my emails Stephanie. Like I always type out my full name, but like, I feel like that's just professional and it's whatever, and it doesn't like, but they're like, is it okay if I call you like Steph? My boss had to ask me, he's like, can I just type S in an email? Like, S, can you take care of this? And I'm like, sure. Like, I'm like, I know, like, I don't get like hung up on stuff like that, but it's like, but it also was just so weird, like the whole Steffi thing, because I've had so many people call me Steffi at work, like in the workplace and over the years. And I'm just like, that's just like it's so like not a normal nickname that you hear. Like,
and it's so like me and Desi, it doesn't look like
it's so like I would never think to call you Desi. Like I like honestly, now that I'm thinking of it, it's funny because your name is so similar to Desire, which like goes hand in hand with your manifestation. I'm just like throwing that out there. I feel like that's like it's a like I don't know, it's meant to be. Like your name is that, and you're good at manifestation.
I know. That's what it means. It's a French name. And then like years ago, which is funny because not many guys have done it recently, but years ago, there'd be guys who are like, your name, like it sounds like Desire. And I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And then there's like once in a blue moon, there's a guy that's like, oh, like, your name is French and it means desire. And I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. I've had it for 46 years. I totally know. And then we have the one instance with that one guy who is a Latin teacher and decided to give me the most gorgeous breakdown of my etymology of my name. And I just swooned over it because I thought that was so adorable. But my former boss would call me Desi, and I'd always have to be like, I don't like that. So it's always been Des. But I will say, so I moved here about 7 years ago. When I moved here, I met I know, isn't it crazy? I want to say it's almost 8.
I feel like I've known you for 7 years. I don't think it's been that long.
Well, I mean,
it's almost honestly though. I mean, because when did you slide into my DMs for the podcast? Like you said, I was on yours, but 2022 did we do it the same year?
We did it the same year, and so what I looked it up, and so I did a clip of yours and posted it on my podcast, and it was like here's a clip of me being on Dirty Blondes, and it was June of 2022. So it was 2022. So it's been, which is crazy. But I remember I met this guy at a bar, and we started dating like as soon as I moved down here. Literally, when I took the job that brought me here originally, I was in the process of moving, and so I was still living in Georgia. So we met when I had my second interview, and I was like, I'm actually moving down here for work. And so we kept in touch. Like a month later, I moved down here. We started dating like my first 4 months here. But he gave me a nickname that no one in my entire life has ever given me. And I hate that he gave it to me because I was like, fuck, I really want my person to call me that. He used to call me Ray.
Oh, I love that. It's so like that's so fitting for you, honestly.
Right? No one in my life has ever called me Ray. And I remember when he did it, I was like, and then he said, is that okay if I call you that? And I said,
hell yeah.
Absolutely. I was like, I love it. And so he'd always, and he would tell, it was like REA basically. So different than how my last name or how my name is. So he'd be like, you know, hey Ray, are you coming over for dinner? Or like, Ray, we're gonna go do this, or like, Ray, I left this for you, blah blah blah. And I remember thinking like, that is so cool. And then he so annoying. He was just like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. And I was like,
Oh, boo. Boo.
you want to know something that, oh, I don't want to think about this. It pisses me off. I took him out to dinner at like the nicest restaurant in town.
Yeah.
He did something at work, so I wanted to like treat him.
Yeah.
So went to dinner, nice scotch, paid for everything, went back to his place at night, woke up in the morning. We would always do like coffee together before I'd head off to work. And I remember standing in the kitchen and we're both drinking coffee and it was just weird and like awkward and silence. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's the worst.
are you good? And you could just kind of tell he was having that internal conversation, like, how do I say it? And I was like, if you're not feeling this,
yeah, please just tell me now.
please let me know. And it was just like,
I just hate the anxiety of it. Like after the, you know what I mean? It was like when I was telling you about that guy that I went on the date with, and I was like, I sent you this. I literally was hysterical. I messaged you crying at one point because I was like having a fucking nervous breakdown. And I mean, that was more about me than him. Like it was whatever, like internal shit. But like, I was just like, the vibe was immediately off. Like he literally was like, text me tomorrow. And like I had fallen asleep after the last message that he had sent me. So I was like, responded to that message and was like, good morning, I hope you have a good day at work. Immediately knew that the vibes were off. And I was like, at this point, just be like, just tell me so I'm not sitting here fucking losing my mind, which I'm still losing my mind about it because I really liked him, but whatever.
okay, we're gonna put him in the freezer.
Yeah, I know. I need to just hit him with my car and just get over.
We're gonna put him in the freezer.
Allegedly
Allegedly not saving for any use in a court of law.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
We're just gonna put him in the freezer because Stephanie and I have also, well, not Stephanie and I have decided that Stephanie and I are starting our own coven, so that we can fully be witches and get into our witchy manifestation.
I can make the snacks. I don't know how good I am at the whole spells and manifesting thing, but I can make snacks for everybody for the coven.
This is how you have to try. You have to we have to try, and this is how we get our coven started. We're already both in black right now. We didn't even plan that, so we already have the official color.
We're halfway there.
We're halfway there. We need what did they say in the craft? We need like was it 3 or 4? No, they need it. How many do they need?
They're 4.
They need it 4.
There's 4 of them.
Yeah, because they had the 3.
Yeah, right? Or 4 or 5, because it's like they make that star.
Yeah, they had the 3 girls, and then when homegirl moved, they were like, our covenant's complete. So we just need 2 more girls. So if there are 2 more girls that are in Florida, preferably, because that's where we are, preferably somewhere in the middle, and then maybe somewhere on the East Coast, and that way we have like all.
Yeah, we can be all.
State. We can energetically connect. Please connect with either myself or Stephanie via Instagram. Yeah. We can create our own nice little dating coven. But we're gonna put him in the freezer because he deserves it. He deserves to be put in the freezer.
I mean, I think this is honestly a lesson for myself of like just everything that I've gone through in the last like my whole dating life, honestly. I'm just such a sucker for love. I'm a Libra. We love love. We're just like flirty people. And I think for me, I just, because I'm dating intentionally and he checked off almost every box that I was looking for. And I was like, oh my God. And he's telling me this was the best date he ever had. And he's telling me that like, where have you been? And like, I've been looking for you and blah, blah, blah. And like all this stuff. So it's like, of course you get like caught up in all of that, you know? And I think this was my lesson to be like, okay, you need to like chill the fuck out because I do this all the time. And it's like an ongoing joke because one of my other good friends, her and I send audio messages back and forth. And every time I message her, I'm like, I'm in love with a new guy. Like, you know, because it's just like the joke. Because I'm like, I always like see these like the potential in guys. And I'm just like, I just fall in love with like what could be, which like, I think that's the lesson that I'm like, why I've been in such horrible situations, and like the universe is like, bitch, you gotta get it together. Like you gotta get it together. So I'm just like, I'm taking this as a learn. Like my guy friend was like, no, this is just like, guys do this all the time because they want a challenge. That's what he said. He was like, because I was like, what was the point of the texting constantly, the, you know, the $400 date, like all this stuff. I was like, I just don't understand, like, when there are girls out there who will just sleep with you just to sleep with you, which is there. I'm not, you know, like if you want to do that, that's fine. I'm just not at that point in my life anymore. So that's why I was like, I just don't understand, like, why all the effort. And he was like, because guys like a challenge. And he was like, now that like the challenge is done, he doesn't need you anymore. And I'm just like, but at $400 for a date? Like, I was like, he could have taken me out for like a couple of drinks. We could have hooked up or whatever at, you know, the second date or third date, whatever. And it been, you know, fun. And he's like, it still would have been the same outcome. And I was like, all right, like I'm speaking from an expert here, but I don't like it. But I just like, I need to learn. I think it's also a Florida thing too.
It might be a Florida thing, but I will say if your focus is dating intentionally, I remember years ago reading Steve Harvey's, what is it? Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And he had that whole, like, I think it was a 90-day sex rule. And I was like, I'm not doing 90 days. But I remember when I dated my ex, because I moved here thinking, okay, if I'm going to find someone, I do want to, date rather intentionally. And I remember on our first date, I was like, I will not sleep with you until the fifth date.
Yeah.
And so we made it to 3. But we made it to 3 because he was such an idiot on our third date that my intention was strictly to sleep with him and then never call him again. And he realized he messed up. And when I say that man the next day came to my job with flowers, I was like, fuck. Okay. I gotta
see. I wasn't intending to sleep with this guy. Like this was, and mind you, like for reference,
that is true. You weren't, and I remember I was like, "Good for you." And then you called me the next day, and I was like, "Fuck."
I know. Well, also because like I hadn't had sex in 2 years, like since like basically my breakup, and like I like, you know, and it just like it just seemed right because like we were just so like the conversation was just so good, and for him to be like, oh, like I haven't felt this way on a date before. Like he's like, I'm literally playing back recent dates that I've had. And like, I thought they were good and they weren't in comparison to this. So like, when you like, why even go down that path of saying that? That's why I was like, oh, I'm like, he really like is into me. Like, I was like, this is great. You know, I mean, granted it was aligned and I fell for it. So stupid me, but like, I mean, why would I think otherwise? You know what I mean? Like, that's not like,
and I think it's like what your friend said, where it was like guys like a challenge. Cause like I go back to, have I had 2? No. Well, no, that was a hotel weekend. That was a planned weekend date. I had one 24-hour date. It did not start that way. It was not the intention.
I've had a handful of ones like, you know, yeah, like that.
I've never had one. And I remember thinking, one, this is so cool. Like I met him for drinks. We went to dinner. Dinner led to going to one of my favorite strip clubs in Atlanta. And that led going back to his place, which meant I stayed the night, which meant we did brunch the next day. And it was Sunday and it was during football season. So then we went back to his place. We watched football for most of the day and then I went home. And so like the connection was great. The date was great. We met like 2 days later and had another date. And then all of a sudden communication just like trickled away. And
it's the worst feeling. It's like, especially when you like feel like you're like, oh wow, this person like really could be like, I think that's my thing that I need to figure out is like, I fall in love with potential of people, which my ex, I fell in love with the potential because he sold me this whole story and narrative of like, I want to accomplish this. I want to do this. I'm just young right now. And like, which I don't care. Like age doesn't matter. If I get along with someone, I get along with them. If circumstances are circumstances, like I've had a lot of shitty things happen in my life. Like I've had, you know, like debt issues from a lawsuit and DUI and whatever. And it's like, I would never want someone to hold all of that stuff against me while I'm sorting it out. So I try to give people grace, you know? So it's like, and girls look at potential different with guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just different. Like we see, oh, well, we can help you. We can build you up. We can, you know, like help build something and, you know, make a a house, a home kind of thing. Like that's, I feel like, women's mentality. So for me, I see guys and I'm just like, oh fuck yeah, we can do this. And then, but it's like, I have to learn, like, I can't date with potential. I have to date with like actual facts, like real things, tangible things that I can be like, okay, yes, you can help provide for me or do this for me. Not just like, I have a fucking pipe dream of like, I'm going to be an amazing real estate agent or whatever, but you don't even have your real estate license yet. It's like, okay, we're the cart's before the horse, so that's something that I've had to kind of, learn, I feel like, over the years, where it's like, don't date with just potential. I mean, it's good to give grace, but like, you also have to be realistic.
But if you do that, then you'll end up like me and you give essentially out of a 6-year relationship 4 years of grace. And I remember
I did the same thing with mine.
Having that epiphany of, that is all that you're doing. Like, in every major argument and every apology he did, it was always like, okay, like, I see us communicating after arguments. Like, this is good. I'm seeing the arguments become less and less. But it was always the same fucking arguments. And it was the same issues, and none of them were getting better. And I saw how my coaching business was going, and I saw how the podcast was going, and I saw where I wanted my life to go. And I'm thinking, these are all things that I clearly said to this man at the start of our relationship. I am doing all the work I need to for myself, and you have not done jack all. And so I was like, I have to end this. Like, all I have done is fall madly in love with your potential. And we're good friends. We recorded an episode of the podcast together and actually talked about like our friendship post breakup. But I remember I've posted a lot of content talking about, like you said, the worst thing you could ever do is fall in love with potential.
Yeah, because it doesn't get you anywhere most of the time. Most of the, like, there's obviously those fluke little like Cinderella stories of like, oh my God, like what's the guy's name? Conor McGregor, like the MMA fighter. Like, his wife was with him through when he had nothing, you know what I mean? And it's like, now look at him. Good for her. Like, that's a 1 in a million story. You know what I mean? Like,
they're also putting in the reps, literally. They're putting in the work.
Right.
They're making the effort. It was just so many, I used to joke about the fact that it was like something new every quarter. So it was like, it was this type of idea. It was this type of business. It was going into day trading. It was this type of hobby. And it was just like, for the past 6 years, I have been consistently doing this, and you have just had your hand in so many different things. And so you can't do that versus someone like Conor McGregor, who was like, my intention is to be this as a fighter. And that is all he is focused on ever. And so, yeah, of course she stood by him because she saw the fruits of his labor.
Right, exactly. My ex used to do the same thing. That's how I ended up with fucking 14 snakes in my house.
Oh my God, you had a whole fucking zoo. And I was like,
oh my God, you have no idea, Desiree. You have no idea. We had like 14 snakes. We had 2 fish tanks. We had lizards. We had geckos. We had a tortoise at one point. We had everything. It was like a literal fucking reptile store in this house. But he wanted to do this whole reptile business. And then I ended up being the one having to feed these goddamn snakes. So I'm having to get live mice, live rats, feed these fucking snakes, so I'm having to tweezer to tweeze the real live snakes or the real live fucking mice and rats, throwing them in these tanks with these rabid fucking snakes. And I'm like, and because he didn't want to do it. He's like, oh, I'm too tired from work, because it was like a whole process because we had 14 of them. So it was like an all day affair, basically. And I'm like, okay, like, you wanted this business. I've never wanted a reptile in my life. Not that I'm scared of them. Like, I didn't care. I would hold them and whatever. But like, I love dogs. Anyone who knows me knows I want like 15 dogs and a farm so they can run around and whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
you had 15 snakes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, which like the snakes were just like, they were chill like a dog, I guess. But like, they were just, I mean, they're not hard to take care of. Luckily, like, they're just like, they kind of hide, and you only have to feed them once a week. Like, it's like the care is very minimal if you want an animal, which is great. But at the same time, I was like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, you said you wanted to do this business because it was going to make so much money and all this stuff, which like it can, but it's a long-term business. And it got to the point where I was just like, okay, we're in crazy town now, because the house has fucking snakes everywhere. Like, this is like, I was just like, okay. And every single thing was like a business. And I was like, not every idea or passion needs to be a business. We don't need to make everything into a business or an LLC or whatever. Like, you can enjoy a hobby for a hobby. Like, so I like, that was one of our biggest things, because like everything he was trying to turn into a business, which is dad is very similar, which is dad is a piece of shit. So it's like on par, but like I was just like, not everything needs to be a business. Like, not every idea needs to be like this, you know, this thing. Because I'm like, if you have this quick idea, like it's never gonna make it to anything. Like, you have to pick one idea and stick with it if you want the success of it.
You've got to put in the
Yeah,
work. You've got to be the Conor McGregor of whatever it is that you want to do, right? And
exactly.
one of the things that we talked about on the episode that he and I just did was the fact that the whole reason why this podcast is even in existence is because of him. Because he constantly pushed me, because I had a lot of imposter syndrome around the idea of even starting the podcast. And I'd had the idea forever. And he was like, Desiree, you should just do it. Just get a cheapy little microphone. You don't even need to do that. Just start small. Let's just do it. And he really pushed me. And so I did. I started super small and built it up. And this is where we're at today. And I know it'll be even bigger. But that was all that I ever wanted, was for someone to see that in me and then be that person and encourage. And then I could be like, hell yeah, babe, look at what I did. And I did that for him, but I did that for him for like 15 versions of what it was that he wanted to create. And after the 16th, I was like, okay, I can't fucking do this anymore.
Which is so funny that he was so supportive of you. My ex was the reason why I stopped my podcast. He wouldn't let me do it. Like, it was just like, it was a fight every day. We were fighting. I mean, we fought all the time about everything. And it was just like, that's ultimately why I stopped doing it. And you know, I mean, it's whatever, like the podcast, like obviously the topics and like, I mean, cause I was like basically celibate for like fucking 2 years. So it's like, obviously the topics don't translate, you know, as the years go on, but like, I do miss podcasting. I had, you know, a blast doing it, but yeah, he was the reason I stopped doing it. Cause he like, what, every time I was like, oh, I'm going to like do a podcast episode or whatever, he would interrupt me, or, you know, like he would insert himself into my situation, so I couldn't ever do it. So I just was like, I had to kind of stop doing it, unless I was going to like go off site to like do it in my car somewhere, you know what I mean? And I was just like, whatever, it's not like worth it to do that. But
so another flag, he wasn't letting you do the thing that you love, which is
right. And it's like, well, it's like so crazy, because like when you think about like, there's so many people that get in relationships like that, and it's like, in hindsight, like you look from an outside healed or mostly healed perspective of like, wow, I can't, like, that was like one of the biggest things for me. I was so mad at myself and so sad for my old self, because I was like, I can't believe I let all of this happen. But it's like, when you're in it, it's so hard to like, unless you've been through that type of situation, it's so hard to explain to people, because people are like, well, why did you allow that to happen? And I don't know. I can't verbalize why.
You weren't in it, because I can look at the outside looking in for mine, and I was just like, why are you still doing this? Like, I remember when we got engaged, and I remember telling him like a week or so afterwards, I was like, this is a plan, this is a timeline, I want to get married by this. We will not be engaged longer than 3 years.
Yeah.
We were engaged for 6.
Well, and because it's like, when you're in a toxic relationship or have issues in your relationship that are so much bigger than like you really can deal with, you are in you're not looking at the future. You're looking at the short term of like, okay, what can I do to make this day easier or this week easier and get through this day, this week, this month without a blowout fight, or without me crying every day or whatever. And it's like, so you start to like minimize, like you don't look at like, usually when you're in a relationship, you're looking at the future and the big picture and like, oh, we're going to get a house and have kids and blah, 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 whatever. When you're in a toxic relationship, it's the reverse. You're looking at, how can I get through this day without hysterically crying or wanting to run my car into a wall because I'm so sad. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's awful. And it's like, you start negotiating with yourself of like, okay, well, for the better of the relationship, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to let this slide, or I'm going to pause this and get back to this event, or whatever. You just
Walk
start
away.
negotiating with yourself. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, and because so many people who knew me were like, what are you doing? Because I have such a strong personality. And it's like, I didn't really know how to explain it. And I still don't to this day. It's just like, you end up giving up bits and pieces of yourself slowly. And it just chips away because you're like, okay, it's for the greater good. We're not going to fight today. Okay. Now things are better. We haven't fought in a week because I stopped, so it's like you get this positive reinforcement, but in a negative way almost, because it's like you're giving up things that are you. Like that's why, like towards the end of it, I was like, I look at old photos of myself and like even the podcast, like I look at Dirty Blondes like as a whole, and I'm like, I don't know who that girl is. Like I have no idea who she is, or how I got here. You know what I mean? Like obviously my personality is like kind of like, I am who I am. I'm like a jokester, I'm sarcastic, whatever. Like that's never going to change. But like I look back at things that I like did and said, and I was just like, I don't know her anymore. Like she's literally like such a person of my past. And I was literally looking through old photos because I was trying to show actually my friend who's my hairstylist old photos of me when I had platinum hair. And I like look back and I'm like, I don't even remember these photos almost, because it's like such an outer body experience. It's so weird to like look back on it. But
A beautiful thing of like reflection, right? But I tell people I don't regret the relationship, and I'm grateful that I got to a point where I was like, I have to make the best decision for me and ultimately for him. And I wish him well. We're still friends. He called me today and was like, hey, blah blah
you're
blah.
better than me. I
So
wish mine would. I want to hit mine with my car,
you're gonna
allegedly.
put
But
him also in a freezer as well. Although no, he needs something a little bit. We might have to get the full coven for what he needs. Um, but the thing about not just potential, but looking at your future, kind of like what you're saying, where you're like, rather than looking at the future, you're looking at today, this week, this month, right? I remember one of the biggest moments that really stuck with me when I was like, okay, I have to end this, because I very much am a big picture future person. And with my coaching and the podcast, I know what the future will hold. We know I'm insane at manifesting and I'm part witch, obviously. So I know what my future is going to hold. And so a lot of times I have this one particular visualization thing that I love to do whenever I just try to want to get myself in like a high vibe frequency. And it always revolves around me giving a huge presentation, huge ballroom. There's a big stage. There's like hundreds of women. They're cheering. Like I'm about to do a speech. It's like a whole weekend of like a badass conference. And it's my conference. I'm leading it. And every time I do this visualization, to my left, I can see like my family. I can see my team. I can see the people recording content. I can see all the people that I work with. And I've always seen the outline of a man, and he is that guy. But he's in the corner. He's like recording on his phone. He's screaming. He's cheering me on. And every time I would visualize this and I would get so into that feeling of like, oh my God, that's my future. I can't wait. I can't wait. I never saw my ex's face. I never saw it. And I would try to put his face in there and it didn't work. And that was when I was like, okay.
and it's hard because it's like I think with like relationships and why people stay in like for me specifically, like my toxic situation was like I love so much, and for me I think it's maybe a little bit different, not in every situation, but for a lot of women, like I saw the potential in him. I invested time, money, energy, all of this stuff. And for me, I was like, well, where's like the fruits of my labor? You know what I mean? Like, when am I going to get I'm helping him build himself up and help him with his career, his money, all this stuff. And I'm like, where is it for me? So I think that kept me in it a very long time, which is not a good reason. But I think that it was an aha moment for me afterwards where I was like, wow, I was staying in this for the wrong reasons because I, one, wanted to be in a relationship. Two, I loved love. Three, I fell in love with his potential. And then it was just like, all right, well, where's my payback for this? You know what I mean? Like I've gotten him this far. And, where, like, when am I going to get repayment? And it's like, sometimes it's like, you don't a lot of times. And it's especially when you fall in love with the potential and you're footing the bill for that potential, and that was like a big lesson for me. Because it was just like, it was a mess. But like, I knew deep down though, when I was dating him, like how you're saying, like, you saw a figure, but like his face wasn't, your ex's face wasn't in that, figure. It's same thing. Like, I knew I was never going to marry this guy, but I stayed even though I shouldn't have, because I was like, okay, maybe I'll get some type of repayment, or and I don't mean like him writing me a check, but
Yeah,
it just
but
like,
you would get something, right?
right, something like I'm going to benefit from this somehow.
Mhm.
And there was no benefit for me. And it's like, I mean, I just had to take it as like a stock loss. It's like, you lose out. Like, it just was what it was. But I just like, to anyone who's listening who is like in a similar situation, it's like, don't keep going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's usually not worth it. You have to set those boundaries, because it you most of the time you're not going to get what you give back, unfortunately. And it's just like, you just end up wasting your time. And I had to learn it the hard way, and as did you in certain ways. So it's like, it's like, and time is expensive, you know what I mean? Even though it's like time keeps going, but it's like, I look back and I'm just like, oh my God, I wasted 3 years of my life. Like, I'm almost 40 now. Like, I'm going to be 39 this year. And I'm just like, I cannot believe I wasted like my prime 30s on this guy, recovering from him, dating him. I lost almost all of my friends. So many negative things happened due to my relationship with him. And I'm just like, I can't believe my whole 30s was just like fucked up because of him. So that's the best advice I can give to anyone in a similar situation. It's just let go. It's hard, but let go.
Take a beat, let go, learn from the lessons,
Yeah.
know that you had to go through that for a reason. That is the one thing that I've said. I'm like, those were 6 years that I can never get back, but clearly I had to go through it.
Right.
And if anything, it gives me the perspective of now, granted, unlike you, I'm not really dating with intention. I'm just kind of dating for fun, and I'm dating for enjoyment. I'm dating for connections, not dating for hookups, right?
We
But
all know that you'll manifest your man when you're ready. That's
and that
just, I mean, that's just the realness of it. Like, it's
and
just
you wanna know something? I agree with you, because right now I'm not ready.
right.
I'm not I'm not
Exactly.
I'm not ready for him. First of all, I'm not in the city where I will be later on this year.
Right.
I'm not 100% with the business and the podcast yet. So once the 100% happens and I've moved and
Yep.
I've hit a certain amount of money in the podcast and the business, then I will be ready. So right now I'm
Right.
not ready for him. Now what I am ready for, I'm ready for a roster. I'm ready for a
Yeah.
little springtime
Perfect
summertime
time.
roster.
Summer coming up,
Summertime
like,
roster.
it's just,
Summertime roster. So
yeah.
we are about to get to the end of the episode. So you did give like one piece of advice right there. Um, for the few guys that might be listening, what's some advice that you would give to them
Well, if they're
if they've
in a
made it this far
relationship,
in this episode?
don't string a girl along that's like a good girl. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not ready, like, cause like, I feel like there's so many guys that stay in relationships with girls that are the same thing. They see the potential, but it's like girls are farther along for whatever in these particular circumstances that I'm talking about. But like, they stay with them because they don't want to let them go. Like my ex, oh no, my light went out. So
You're right.
sorry about that.
We were just having this
Um,
conversation. Mine's probably gonna go right behind you. So that's why I'm like, I knew I timed it really good for the episode, and I was like, an hour and a half, we might be good. So, but you still look great. You're good.
thank you.
Give me like 2 minutes, and mine's probably gonna go out.
Yeah. My ex, like, he had stayed with me because like he knew that like I already was like on my way, like with my career and all that stuff. And like he was like, I don't want anyone to benefit from you. So it's like, if you love her, let her go. Like, if you love her and you don't like, you're not there, you gotta just like, you can't make her suffer. You can't, like, that's just, it's terrible. If you're single, just be honest. Like,
Yeah,
if you're
it's
like, just
super
be honest
easy.
about your intentions. Don't do the whole bullshit of like, oh, you're like amazing and the best date ever, and then just ghost the person. You know what I mean? Like, just be upfront. If you want to hook up, like, there's plenty of guys that I meet online that they're like, I'm just looking for a hookup. But I'm like, all right, well, best of luck to you. Like, I'm not looking for that,
No,
and
yeah.
that's, not me, but like, I wish you the best. I hope you find it. And like in South Florida, like obviously it's easy to come by, there's always people vacationing down here or whatever. But like, it's just the stringing along and the false narratives of like what's happening that drives me crazy. So those are for single and potentially taken men.
I'd say for taken men, kind of in a similar vein, which is if you see that your girl is out there and she's working hard and she's working hard on herself and everything, but if you see her really grinding hard on being a better individual and bettering herself, buddy, if you're not already on the path, that girl is planning her exit strategy. Because when
Yeah.
we start really focusing on us and we start focusing less on you, we're not doing that in the hopes that you'll join us. We're doing that as an exit strategy.
Well, they say girls check out of a relationship well before guys do. So when
Yeah.
guys say that they're blindsided, they typically are, because women have already voiced what they want, what their expectations are, whatever, all of these things, their grievances. And then they get to a point where they're like slowly falling out of love with men or the man that they're with. And then all of a sudden, a man's like, oh my God, I was blindsided. And it's like, no, you
No,
were blindsided. She knew this was
she
coming for
knew.
months,
She knew.
you know?
I literally did that. So,
Yeah.
and then as far as the single guys, yeah, the same thing. Like, again, like the guy today where he was like, I have connected with this other girl, and she and I have been talking for a minute. I want to pursue that very seriously. Cool, great, awesome. The other guy that was like, I'm looking for friends with benefits. Well, I am not. I wish you well. We unmatched. So just to be honest, like that whole idea that you don't have to give us a whole explanation. But if what your intentions are is just a hookup, if what your intentions are, I appreciate the guys who are in their bio that are like, I'm ready to settle down. I'm looking for a mom for my kids. Cool. I
Right.
am not the girl for you.
Or on the flip side, I don't know what I'm looking for. Like, at least you're honest about it. We can like maybe dig a little deeper, like
But
it's,
at the end of the day, whether you're in a relationship or you're single, just be fucking honest. It's really
I'm going to say one more thing before we end this. I know this is getting long, but there was something that my therapist had said to me a couple years ago, and I just recently said it to a friend. He's going through a breakup, and it's like he's trying to he's not over her, so that's like take that into play. But I said, like, you're trying to make your relationship with her, like, so my therapist said basically, when you're in a relationship with someone, you're buying off the rack, meaning you're buying the article of clothing off the rack, and it is what it is. Most of the time, when you buy something off the rack, you have to alter it in some way. You have to hem it, you have to take it in, you have to, whatever, you have to do something to make it fit you perfectly, because clothing is not a perfect fit when you buy it off the rack. Like, it looks good, but it's not perfect. So she said, once you start altering all these things, then eventually it becomes perfect. Well, humans are not like that. When you're in a relationship with someone, you can say, wow, this is a stylish thing. I like this. I like the color. I like whatever. Oh, it's too long. It's too this, it's too that. Then you start altering it. You cannot alter someone that you're with. And if you do, then you shouldn't be with them. If you have to alter everything about the person that you're with, it's just like me and my ex. Oh, I don't like that you talk about sex on your podcast. I don't like that you're doing this. I don't like that you're doing that. He was altering me, and I didn't even clock it while it was happening. But it's like when you have to sit there and you're in a relationship, oh, this would be a perfect relationship if you do this, 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 and this. You then don't be in the relationship with that person. Find someone who meets all of those qualifications or those boxes, because, you know, we are who we are as people. I say that all the time at work. Like, people will talk about my boss particularly, and I'm like, he is who he is. Like, this is his personality. This is ingrained in his DNA. He is this person. You either need to adapt or you need to get a new job. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going anywhere. So like, he is who he is as a person. And it's the same with relationships. Like, if you're not going to, like, if you can't accept the person that you're with for who they are, and you need to, oh, it would be perfect if this was different, then don't be with them. You know, that's like, I think that's a big thing that people like forget. It's like, no one's forcing you. You can like someone and like qualities about them, but you don't have to be with them indefinitely.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think that's a perfect way to end the episode. In the meantime, you can always check us out on, or check us out. I'm trying to subconsciously put us in a podcast together. Check me out on Desiree-Moan.com and all my socials, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, not Twitter, definitely Threads, at I am D Simone. This will not be the last time Stephanie's on the show. If you found us here on YouTube, she will in fact be back again. So Stephanie, thanks so very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
We'll see you all in the
Bye.
next episode.